G'day mates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to discuss all the craziness from the Cash Cups over the last few days, and there is a lot to talk about. We have point world records being broken, we have NA teams winning Asia's Cash Cup, we have EU FNCS champions back on top, and we have, I don't want to call it cheating, I don't want to call it an exploit, maybe you could argue it's a glitch, but we have a brand new strategy that allowed a team to come top 60 on NA East with 0 kills. There's a lot to cover. So before I break down that insane heal-off strategy later, whatever it is, glitch, exploit, cheating, whatever you want to call it, let's run through some of these leaderboards. Let's start with the first one, OCE. We saw the world record points being broken, previously held by Wavy Jacob's team on NA West, with Sorov, Volks, and Sink getting 280 points, 7 matches, 5 wins, an average elims of 17, and an average placement of 1.57. They had a KD ratio, remember, kill death. The amount of kills they got to how many times they died in this Cash Cup was 59.50. Look at the match history. 21 elim win, 24 elim win, 15 elim win, 19 elim win, 9 elim fourth, 19 elim win, and a 12 elim second. Just an absolutely phenomenal tournament from them. And I know what people are going to say, oh, it's OCE, it's free, it's easy. I would ask you to try and get this kind of a match history in an arena, on any region. Like, this is such an impressive performance from a team that I have picked to win this OC FNCS. If you don't follow OCE much, they came second in the last FNCS, and that's because they were dropping at Steamy and they got 12 of 12 zones going south. If you didn't see the tweets I made or the posts I made about OCE FNCS, I'll throw up the map here. This is what OCE's zones looked like for the first zone, and they still came second. So they're looking insanely dominant right now. Volks, as you've probably heard of, one of the most famous OCE players. He's actually on 0 ping now. He's usually in Melbourne on about 20 ping, but he's currently boot camping with Luda in Sydney, and he's on 0. And I mean, this is their first performance with Volks on 0 ping. He's looking scary. As for Asia, I mean, we've had NA West doing really well in Asia for a long time. Reeds popped off in quite a lot of their tournaments, specifically solos, but I think it's one of the first times we've seen a trio win it. I could be wrong, but Arkram, Epic Whale, and Reed winning Asia on 217 points, playing 8 matches and getting 2 wins, netting $350 each. Not bad at all. I mean, NA West and Asia, I've got to think they're on at least, what, 100 to 150 ping? That's impressive. We had a lot of big stories come out of EU, but we had Hen, Janice, and Chapix back on top, 219 points, taking out the #1 spot with 7 matches played and 3 victory royales, an average placement of 5th, and average elims of 14.57. They played phenomenally well. A lot of people obviously know Hen, Janice, and Chapix. They split up, they got back together. It wasn't April Fools. They've had their issues, but looks like, same with FNCS, they're putting their issues behind them and they're popping off. So a lot of people asking, it looks like they're going to stay together for FNCS. We're not going to be able to see them play in the qualifying weeks because since they placed top 3, they aren't going to be able to play, but they're playing phenomenal right now. There was some other really big performances up there as well. Unfortunately, this did ruin Tayson, Nate, and Forziard's 100% win rate so far in Trio Cash Cups, but they still came in 8th. I mean, that is ridiculous consistency for a brand new team. We saw Antics' team up there. I was talking about them a few weeks ago as being one of the most consistent teams right now in EU, if not the most consistent, and they're only 2 points away. We had Benji, Amplify, and Matzo still up there as well. There were some big performances, but unfortunately, yet again, we have Mongrel and Mitro unable to play, so things are looking a little bit scary coming to FNCS. If you are Mongrel Mitro fans, I hope they can pull it together. Like I said, they were going to have to put some practice in, really figure out the meta if they're going to place, and again, maybe the Cash Cups not taking it seriously. I hope they turn it up for the FNCS, though. I really want to see them dominate this season. NA East Cash Cup was an exciting one. We saw some of the most underrated players, in my opinion, in the whole region pop off. We had Aspect, Kaz, and Fishy up there on 215 points, 9 matches played, 1 win, an average elims of 11, and an average placement of 8.78. And I know what you're going to say, Fishy was dominating in solos. He has built up quite a name for himself, especially with montages and with content. But Aspect coming back again. Aspect's kind of been in and out of the scene, or at least in and out of placing since the skirmish days. really back in a big way. But Kaz, one of the only players in the whole world, not just NA East, that up until this last FNCS had qualified for every single FNCS Grand Final. So looking like Kaz is still in form. We saw some big performances as well. Night Shark and Clarity G, a new team formed this season up there. Justice, Dictate, and Users, again, very underrated teams, but the spotlight was taken by a team that managed to come top 60 with 0 eliminations. Look at this match history. This is a Middle Eastern team, I believe. They before this hadn't really placed in almost anything, and they somehow managed to get a top 60 in NA East. They got 151 points, 7 matches played, 4 victory royales with 0 elims. They got a 0 elim first, 0 elim 7th, 0 elim 2nd, 0 elim 1st, 0 elim 2nd, 0 elim 1st, and a 0 elim 1st. Now, I know what you're gonna say. They're cheating, they're exploiting. They're not. Let's look at it. I know what you're thinking. Okay, they have to be doing a duplicate glitch. They're doing an exploit. They're doing something. Well, yes, but no. It's not an exploit. It's not cheating. It's not glitching. They literally just land on the edge of the map. They fish the whole end game, just get a whole bunch of small fries. Like, as you can see, they're not even fishing in the fishing holes. And then they just do the most insane stuff throughout the whole mid game. They stack up all their meds onto campfires. They use all their meds on the campfires. They just keep going. As you can see, the other 2 players are still getting fished. Like, they just basically collect as many meds as they can, cycle them all together, collect them inside the Slurpee rivers, and then, like, I don't even know at this point. Like, honestly, I want to say, like, oh man, they're bad players, like, they're doing a cheesy strat, they don't deserve this, but it's actually impressive how well this team has figured out these strats. Like, 2 have gone down here. This guy's now rotated to the shanty town to get the slurp barrels. He's cycling that with campfires, all the fish that he has, and wait till you see the end game. Like, it's crazy. They have to, like, go between slurp barrels and campfires. They have to throw their meds around. They have to time all their different meds perfectly. They're just clustering these giant stores of small fries. And I know what you're thinking. No, they must have duplicated Aussie. There's no way they fished up all of this. They did. They spend the entire game fishing. And because they're not dropping at Slurpee to start with or any of these areas, they're always uncontested. So they never die on spawn. Look at this. He's happy to cycle fish, go through all the different slurp chugs around at Slurpee. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm impressed. I'm gonna say it. Like, obviously it's not as skillful as someone running through endgame getting 10 kills, but like, they figured out a strategy which Epic is gonna have to fix. There is no way Epic allows this. I don't know what they're gonna nerf. I've always said that I believe that fish should go rotten when you're in endgame or something like that. My man just won. He had more slurps. He had more meds. He could have survived for even longer. They maybe need to kind of bring in this, maybe like if you're in Storm for more than 20 seconds or 30 seconds or even 10 seconds, depending on how it affects mid and early game rotations, maybe your fish should like go rotten and then they only heal you for maybe a quarter of the amount. Just something like that. All you've got to do, or I've talked about this before, add a cooldown to how often you can pop floppers so you can't instantly pop them back to back to out heal a 10 tick zone, because that means you could still use them in mid game fights, you can still use them in early game fights, but you wouldn't be able to use them end game like this in Storm. So maybe make it that you can only pop 1 every 4 seconds because they give 40 health. So if you're trying to pop them in 10 tick storms, you can't eat them back to back, otherwise you'll die. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have any ways to fix this, because all I know is this needs to be fixed before FNCS. Now remember, not only has this team come from placing 5,032nd, 6,701st, and 1,156th in Middle East Cash Cups to now placing top 60 on NA East, they have now qualified for the DreamHack Cash Cup Extra Trios that is taking place in 2 days, where if they do this strategy in a more set format where eliminations are harder to get, they could potentially place even higher. Epic needs to do something about this. I know it's a bit of fun. I don't want to knock on these guys. I don't want to hate on them. They found a really cool, really interesting strategy that isn't a glitch. It's not an exploit. They're using the items in the game the way they're intended to be used, just in a unique way. So hats off to them, props to them. But coming into FNCS, people are going to qualify for future rounds and even qualify through to finals using strategies like this. And there's been a couple so far, obviously not including the duplicate glitch. That is obviously an exploit, but we now have already seen people pop off off using a Orchard heal off strat, and now we have this Slurpee strat. Not only is it the points that they're getting, it's the points they're taking from other teams. I watched Arab's team almost lose to this today. They ended up just getting the win, but if they came second, those points could be the difference between earnings and not getting earnings, placing and not going through rounds. I think Epic is going to do something about this, but like I said, I'm not entirely sure what they can do. They just need to do something about nerfing fish to stop you being able to use them in Storm, but not nerfing them when it comes to other aspects of the game to make them still viable to use like they should be. Before I end today's video, guys, I've got a little bit of a different one. I really want to start including some of the Twitch stuff I make on YouTube, the same way I do with my YouTube stuff on Twitch. Now, at the end of my streams, at the end of my viewing parties, which you guys have been showing up to big, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you want to come watch these tournaments with me, watch these games with me, it's twitch.tv/Aussie Antics. But I always try to find some smaller streamer or someone underrated in the community to throw big hosts over to. And last night, at the end of all these games, I ended up hosting Veggie FN. The guy is such a nice dude. He was so appreciative. I'd love to show him even more love. So if you could, please check out his Twitch. The link will be in the description down below. But this was his reaction to the host.
Oh my god.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh my god! No. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
I show with 3,000 people.
Oh my god. You're kidding.
Oh
my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Right, you're gonna pass out. Chill. Oh my god! You did! Oh my god! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god.
Alright guys, that does it for another video. If you enjoyed it, please chuck a like on it. Thank you for checking out Veggie. If you did, I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.